because I heard so much about the Jewish community. I heard so much about how the Jewish community excel as a very intelligent group of people who have contributed so much to the world in terms of sciences, science and technology. You heard about the Nobel laureates, Wiesel. In fact, he organized an annual event at Petra every year. I've attended 2 of those and met many of some of the best thinkers in the world. And I wanted to know more about the Jews and Israelis. Then after the New York Holocaust Museum, I also had the opportunity to visit the one in Berlin and also in Israel, in Tel Aviv and Jerusalem. To me, walking through the Holocaust Museum really impacts one on the importance of us understanding what the Holocaust was all about how human relationships can go wrong. It had happened in Singapore. We all now talk about Singapore as a model of governance, development, progress, even racial harmony. But we had our racial riots. We had religious riots in 1950 with the Maria Hertog case, as mentioned by Richard. We had the racial riots in 1974. And we have racial riots in Malaysia, in Indonesia, in Thailand. Problems within Buddhist majority and Muslim minority in the south. Between Muslims minority in southern Philippines and Catholic majority in Philippines, in northern. So here in this part of the world, it provides us with this opportunity to learn to live with one another. We have different minority, majority situations, and I thought ASEAN constitute a very good example of how we actually need to know and understand each other and learn from each other. So this is why I believe that in reaching out to more people to understand Holocaust, I think we should try and take a more inclusive approach. Thanks to Professor Tommy Koh, because of my having to participate in this forum, I've started reading quite a bit about the Holocaust. There's a book I'm reading now by Rosenbaum, which talks whether Holocaust is unique. I've also got a number of articles for those who are interested. I can send you copies or titles of those articles about Holocaust and Muslims, Holocaust and Christians, Holocaust and the world. And they show to us, in fact, how complex the Holocaust can be. It's not just a straightforward matter about just the Germans, Adolf Hitler, and the extermination of the Jews. But it's also about the debate, the big debate among the Jews themselves. How do they want to see the Holocaust? Whether it's unique or not. And the debate goes on. And debate goes on too among the Muslims' mind. You've heard about President of Iran in 2006 saying that Holocaust was just a conspiracy. And even 2-3 days ago when I asked one Muslim missionary scholar, he also echoed the same sentiment. And I think there are also many other leaders, Muslim leaders, who try to deny the Holocaust. But I'm glad that I read one article by Yusuf Hamza, an American Muslim scholar, who says that if Muslims were to deny Holocaust, it would undermine Islam, because Islam is also based on facts. There is the reality of the religion, how we want to see the Holocaust from the reality of religious perspective. There are real problems how we would see, Muslim would see the Holocaust, how Muslim would see relations with Jews. But if we take a more inclusive approach, I think we will gain more ground towards understanding why and how the Jews feel so deeply about the Holocaust. And there are also Muslims who believe that by doing so, by understanding Holocaust and accepting Holocaust, understanding how the Jews feel the Holocaust, they also hope that the Jews, the Israelis, would also understand the plight of the Palestinians. So you can see how, in fact, politics come into the picture too, in terms of trying to understand Holocaust better. So it's my fervent hope that we all will do our part to try and understand what the Holocaust means, not only to the Jews, but to the rest of the world. Because I'm glad that Professor Amiko has included Mahdev into this panel, where we can talk about other genocides. The Rwandans are my good friends. I've been to Rwanda. I've been to the Genocide Museum in Rwanda. It's very scary. It happened in Rwanda. Kenya was supposed to be one of the most stable countries in East Africa, but after one election, because of so-called betrayal of sharing of power, they went for each other's throats. It's not only Africa, Europe, Turkey, Armenia. So it can happen. It happened in this part of the world. It can happen. I like to end with this quote from this book I'm reading on by Rosenbaum. And he said, this is an article by Professor Robert Melson in the book by Rosenbaum. 80 years after the Armenian genocide and 50 years after the Holocaust, a European state practiced genocide while Europe, the US, and the UN seem unable and unwilling to halt the slaughter. If genocide cannot be halted in Europe, it cannot be stopped or prevented anywhere else, certainly not in places like Rwanda or Burundi. And final word, in making it more inclusive, I think you heard Professor Laureate, Nobel laureate winner Wiesel several times mentioned today. He was one of those who actually wanted the world to accept the Holocaust as a unique. But Rosenbaum concluded his book with a quote from Wiesel, laureate winner, Nobel laureate Wiesel, by saying, "Now we know we must be responsible." Thank you.